We explained the Mamluk dynasty of Egypt, not to be confused with the Mamluk Turks who created the Delhi Sultanate. Beyond Dracula, the resistance in Eastern Europe was led by John Hunyadi and the Hungarians. Hunyadi had actually been an ally of Vlad II before he gave in to the Ottoman threat against his family and changed sides. Later, Hunyadi would side with Dracula in his quest to regain the Wallachian throne. Hunyadi would often frustrate Mehmed II's advances into Serbia. The Europeans would launch another crusade and back Hunyadi's stand in Belgrade, where they forced Mehmed into retreat. Europeans celebrated the victory across the continent with the new tradition of noon church bell. Then the plague took Hunyadi. The last of the independent states would fall to the Ottomans in the Balkans by the end of the century. At this point, Constantinople was being called Istanbul. Beyond the Ottomans, there was one other group of Turks who'd come from the steppes to make their name in the Middle Eastern empires. During the Crusades, Saladin had dissolved the Fatimid to create a Sunni Kurdish empire, which he centered in Egypt that he called the Ayyubid. It stretched into Syria. In order to hold that vast territory, the sultans of the region crafted an army of former Turkish slave mercenaries who called themselves the Mamluks. The Mamluks became the real power in the region when fighting Louis IX in the Seventh Crusade. The Sultan Amuzam Turan Shah attempted to weaken them, and they assassinated him. Leadership in the Crusades then fell on the Sultana Shajir al-Dur. She'd been married to Sultan Asili, who had treated the Mamluks well. This is the reason they assassinated his son, who hadn't treated them well, after Asili died, and as Louis and the Crusaders began to approach. Having a great military mind, Sultana Dur ordered the troop movements at Damietta in 1250, which ended up capturing King Louis. They held him for ransom, which was of course paid. After he was freed, Louis went off to get support from the leftover Mongol regimes, and the Sultana married Mamluk leader Aybeg. The Mamluks were now in charge, even after Dur had Aybeg murdered in his bathtub. This became the natural progression of leadership in the Mamluks, assassination and then another ruler. It was to be expected in an empire built from a Janissary-type recruitment program. Sultana al-Dur herself would be beaten to death with shoes or thrown from a tower by her stepson, the new sultan. The Mamluk dynasties would be weakened by constant infighting, rebellions by Ayyubids, and the Mongolian invasion of Hulagu, who would commit mass murder in Baghdad and destroy Aleppo, possibly by lighting cats on fire and sending them into town, while kicking the Caliph al-Mustasim to death in a rolled-up carpet. Taking Damascus, the Mongols left the Mameluks very little territory. The new Sultan Kutuz and his general Baybars reversed course. The Mamluks would destroy the Mongol forces at Goliath Springs in 1260, introducing guns into the battle. In celebration, Baybars would kill Kutuz and take over the Mamluk. Baybars would conquer the Middle East, until he was poisoned. In 1291, Acre fell, ending the Holy Land Christian Crusades and solidifying Islam as the dominant power in the region. The Mamluks would survive the Mongols and Tamerlane, but eventually fall to the Ottomans.